Hello everyone! You are currently watching this video while I am experiencing flying amid COVID-19, and I was super excited when lockdown level 2 was announced because that means that we are now able to travel without needing a permit, which is amazing. And as we stand here today, I am uncertain as to whether there will be a lounge available. However, I need to be at the airport 2 hours beforehand, which means that I need to go sit somewhere and go do some work. But anyway, so it's going to be interesting. But I wanted to make sure that I've still got you covered. So here I am recording a video in beautiful surroundings, and hear more about that tomorrow during our Facebook Live. But I'm making plans for you, recording the session and still getting some content out to you. So this month we've been speaking about productivity hacks, and it's been interesting as we've been talking about battling that email monster and how to deal with distractions and making sure that we are making the best use of our time. But today what I really want to speak about is the tools and tricks that high performers implement in their day to make sure that they get the most out of themselves as well as the time that they have available. So welcome to the 5 a.m. Club. And this book, it's a fictitious tale of three people, and it's all about not just waking up at 5 a.m. There's much more to it than that. But it's this book written by Robin Sharma, and he says that 5 a.m. is the time of least distraction, highest human glory, and greatest peace. And if you have ever woken up at 5 a.m. in the morning and the rest of your house is still sleeping, you would know that. You would be able to relate to that because it is peaceful, it is quiet. It's the time of day when not a lot of people are awake and not a lot of people are making the most of their time. So Robin Sharma goes on to suggest a few different tools and techniques to implement to get the most out of your day. And there are a lot of practices and routines that he mentions, but I will just go ahead and summarize a few of them. Not all of them, because I highly recommend that you go read his book, but let's go have a look at a few. So firstly, he talks about starting your day at 5 a.m. with the rule of 20, 20, 20. And what that basically means is in that first hour of your day, between 5 a.m. and 6 a.m., you are breaking that up into 3 pockets of time. Firstly, you're going to move. That is when you are going to be sweating a little bit. You're sweating, you're moving around, you're going to be hydrating, making sure you get enough to drink. And then also you're going to make sure that you are breathing and taking time just to focus on your breath. So that is the first 20 minutes. Okay, it doesn't have to be intense, but enough to get your heart rate up and sweating a little bit. Okay. The next 20-minute pocket is all about reflecting. And during that pocket, we are going to be doing things like journaling, meditating, and maybe even praying. Okay. And he goes into quite a lot of detail about this habit of journaling. And I'm sure that you have heard that journaling is a really, really good practice to implement in your daily life. So if you have not yet mastered the art of journaling, it's okay. You just start small, okay? But definitely go check that out and do a little bit of research and figure out how to journal in a way that makes sense for you. Okay, that's your second 20 minutes. Then the third 20 minutes is your learning pocket. And during this time, we listen to things like audiobooks, maybe watch some documentaries, maybe watch some video courses. And for me, this is a really great time to start building on your business knowledge and getting to that point where you are part of the cream of the crop in terms of what you know and what you understand, and really being able to be an expert in your field of expertise. Okay, so that's the first one. 20, 20, 20. That's the first hour of your day. The next one he talks about is the 90-91 rule. So not 1991, 90/90/1. What this means, for the next 90 days, for the first 90 minutes of your day, you are going to be focusing on the one single thing, one biggest opportunity that will help you to move the needle in your industry. And that is about trying to figure out what are those high impact tasks and making sure that you are doing those right at the start of your day. The next one he talks about is the 60-10 method. And what this means, and you can tune into our Facebook Live session tomorrow where I'll talk a little bit more about this, but what this says is we have a 60-minute sprint and then you rest for 10 minutes. So rest doesn't necessarily have to be, let's just go lie in the bed. It's not about that. It might be active rest, but it's just about moving your concentration, changing your laser-like focus from the task that you are currently busy onto something slightly different for 10 minutes, and then you get back into the 60-minute sprint and 10-minute rest. Then another one he mentions is the 30-second habit. Now, this 30-second habit is to say, I've just had a meeting. How often do we forget what happens during meetings and the most important parts of the meeting, right? So what he says is the first 30 seconds, once your meeting is done, as soon as you've signed off, just jot a few things down that you need to remember, and that will help you, just by that act of writing down, it will help trigger that memory as you go along later and as you're reflecting on the meetings that you have had. Then he talks about something called the Traffic University. And I think this is so clever. And during COVID-19, we haven't really been able to do that because we haven't been traveling much. But if I think about what I was doing before COVID hit, I was driving to and from home and work and back, and all sorts of other places. And I would almost always have either an audiobook running in the background or listen to a podcast or just something so that I'm consuming a little bit of content that I know that I don't ordinarily get the time to do. The same goes for when I go run. I will also go put something in my ears that is helping me build up my knowledge and my expertise. So it is all about learning and being a continual learner, lifelong learner. You've heard that one, right? We have to be lifelong learners. So whether it's while you're walking or whether it's while you're driving, whatever the case might be, find some podcasts, find some audiobooks, and there are some really great ones out there. But just find new ways to use your time that you are maybe just sitting around more productively. I even listen to podcasts while I am at the shops. So, you can't say it's not possible. Anything is possible. It all depends on how we decide to use our time. Then the last thing I want to mention is this idea of having a pre-sleep ritual. Now, a pre-sleep ritual or bedtime routine, whatever it is that you want to call it, it's to say that we are making sure that we are putting very specific habits in place to make sure that we are really getting ready for a good, solid night of sleep. So some of the rituals that he suggests includes things like switching off all of your devices. That's phone, that's your TV, that's your laptop, that's anything emitting blue light. You know that blue light's not good for us just before bed. So switch off all those devices and not just switch them off, go put them in another room. Let your phone charge in a different room. Go buy an alarm clock, a non-digital alarm clock, okay? There are options. You don't need to have your phone next to the bed all the time, okay? Then think about what recreational activities you would like to do. And just to say, this pre-sleep ritual is not like 5 minutes before bed. It could potentially be an hour or even 2 hours before bed. It's all just about what works for you. So the second one, recreational activities, is to say, what are those things that you like doing? Do you have any hobbies? Maybe you like coloring in, maybe you like playing video games. That's fine. Okay, but think about the things that you really enjoy and go do them, preferably not screen time, right? And then audiobooks and podcasts, you can bring those in again, and maybe even having some Epsom salt baths. Again, we've had some real droughts in Port Elizabeth, where I'm from, so Epsom salt baths are probably not the right call for me at this stage. But if you're in a place where you have the opportunity to just go soak a little bit, Epsom salts are really great to be able to pull out those toxins out of your system. And then also spending time with loved ones. All of those things should form part of your pre-sleep rituals. There are other things that he mentions as well. I've just extracted a few. And there really is so much more to this concept of the 5 a.m. club and all of the different habits and routines and rituals that they incorporate. But if you can even just start with implementing that 20-20-20 rule or the method, where you say 20 minutes of moving, 20 minutes of reflecting, and 20 minutes of learning, you will be able to own your morning and you will be able to elevate your day. And all of the reviews and the testimonials testify to this. It can have such a major impact on the quality of your day if you are able to spend that first 60 minutes productively and focused and getting the most out of yourself. And when I was reading through this book, I found that there's a Facebook group specifically for 5 a.m. clubbers, and it's free to join. And they discuss all sorts of questions. There's an ebook that goes along with it, and I highly recommend that you go check it out. Go read it, go listen to it. Whatever the case is, go just join the Facebook group, see what sort of comments are there. I have really found that it makes a massive difference to my life. And if you can incorporate the full set of systems that they recommend for 66 days or more, you know that it takes 21 days to build a habit, but that's not entirely true. It takes 21 days to undo a habit, and then you sort of go through transition, and then you finally stabilize. So roughly around 66 days, that is when a habit gets solidly implemented in your life. So if you are able to do that with this 5 a.m. club concept, then I know you are going to be able to make a significant difference to the quality of your life, your business, as well as your personal life. And you don't have to just be a business owner to be able to incorporate this. Okay, being able to use some of these routines are going to make a massive difference to your life in general. And if you want to be in the top 5% of whatever space you're in, you have to stop doing what the 95% of people are doing, right? And you need to put in that extra little push to make sure that you are becoming a high performer. So whether you are looking at being more productive in your work or getting more happiness in your life, all of these practices are really, really helpful. So tomorrow on Facebook, I am going to be talking about time versus energy management. And it flows super clearly from this conversation that we've had today. So you must make sure that you are tuning in for that. It's going to be really cool. And if you don't quite understand why there's so much emphasis on learning and making time, you schedule in time for rest and for yourself, then next week's session is going to be perfect for you. We are going to be tuning in live to our Instagram, and yes, next week I will be live again next week, and we'll be talking about making sure that we are scheduling in time, not for everyone else, not for all those tasks that are on your list, but scheduling in time for you. And then just finally, to close us out, remember that our application session that's all about digging into your balance sheet is coming up next week, Wednesday. So make sure that you register if you would like to be coached through some of those specific business issues that are relevant to where you are at. Okay? Or if you simply want to learn from the experiences of other business owners, also make sure you come join in for that. Even if you don't have much of a balance sheet to start with and you think like, oh, I'm in the service industry, what am I supposed to do with a balance sheet? Come join in. I can promise you, you are going to learn something that is going to be really valuable. So come check us out there. Remember, the subscription is $250 per month if you sign up in August, and you avoid any future increases, which is a really great deal. Okay, so now go. Stop pressing that snoozer button, and I challenge you to wake up at 5 a.m. at least 3 days before next week. Though it doesn't have to be 3 days in a row, but at least 3 days over the next week. Go wake up at 5 a.m. and see if you can incorporate some of those routines and see what a difference it can make. So until next week at 1 p.m. on Instagram, I will see you then. Have a lovely week. Bye-bye.